Hi, my name is Tyler. I'm an engineer at Kamiwaza, and today I'm going to show a retrieval augmented generation use case built on top of the Kamiwaza stack that allows to supplement LLM responses with your company's information. We've actually shown this once before in a Jupyter notebook on how we can programmatically do this type of retrieval augmented generation use case using the Kamiwaza Python SDK. But in addition to that, we put together this full stack application that shows how you can build an AI app using the Kamiwaza stack. So just like any other Kamiwaza AI app, it's wrapped in our authentication. So if I come in here and sign in with my credentials, we'll see that we have access to two assistants here. Alex is going to not have any access to company data, and we're going to give Morgan access to a catalog that we ingest. So first, we'll come over here, and we will enter a catalog name. It's the Pet Store Demo Docs. And this is like a company handbook. And I'm just going to be ingesting from my local storage, but we can also support S3 buckets. So I'm going to point it to where that data lives. And you'll see that it's going to follow that same pipeline that we did in the notebook, but it's really only one line of code that does this. It's going to set up a catalog in the Kamiwaza backend. It's going to ingest these documents and then chunk them so they're not too big, so the embedding model can actually take them in and generate these embeddings. And then it's going to store it all in a vector database. And since Kamiwaza is opinionated but loosely coupled, this can be any open source vector database that you choose from. So if we take a look, it quickly ingested all those documents. We see that none of them failed, so that looks good. Now, if we come over here and go to this configuration for Morgan, we can see we can change her prompt, some description, name even. And then now we have the option to give her access to some of this data. So we can have a bunch of catalogs here. You can permission them. So if we come over here and ask her a question, we can say, what is the vacation policy? And first, what this assistant's going to do is actually go and retrieve the chunks from those documents that are applicable to answer this question. And now we see that we're getting 2 weeks in advance, first come, first serve. Let's see what else. Limited time during the holidays, and we know that it came from our furry friends pet supplies. So we could ask another question like, what is the sanitation protocol, maybe? You can imagine there's much more exciting use cases like having access to code, legal documents. But this is just an example use case that kind of shows maybe someone's being onboarded. So having access to the company handbook very quickly would be useful for them. So that shows how we can use a retrieval augmented generation pipeline with Kamiwaza. But just while we're here, might as well go through the SDK code to show what actually happened. So this is what we did in that dialog that popped out where we pointed it to where the data lived. And then all that we had to actually do in our backend was one request here to the ingestion service with the ingest function. And we passed this ingestion config. And the response that we got is first, it's going to go find all of those files. It's going to chunk them, and then it's going to have some metadata tags so we know where it came from, etc. And then it's going to batch it to make sure we don't overload the model, creates all of these vectors, and then puts them into the vector database. And then this is just the same type of questions that we were asking in the um, demo that we just showed. But you're able to generate this type of retrieval augmented generation response where it tells you actually where the chunks were pulled from, and here's our answer that was supplemented with that data. So there's a lot of exciting use cases that I'm personally excited to see here, and we're just all very excited to see what everybody builds on top of this. So yeah, thanks for watching.